Good evening, my friends, and welcome to a already problematic episode of the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host Jim.
Space sausage. What?
Yes, sausage, and
Space.
we're both apparently Jim and I are having internet issues with Time Warner. Jim posted some pictures of outage maps on on the Space Game Junkie Twitter, and yeah, both Los Angeles and Raleigh, North Carolina, which is where Jim and I are respectively, are having issues. So
Yes.
hopefully,
It looks like a hurricane map, actually.
it really does.
For-
It really,
yeah.
or an earthquake map, or an
Yeah,
earthquake
except
map,
LA doesn't
something.
really get the type of hurricanes that we do.
No, we get fires and we get earthquakes and.
What if there was like an earthquake tornado full of sharks
Uh,
from space? No?
that'd be one hell of a ride.
Yeah, so what is this that you're streaming there, sir? That's,
Oh, you can see it.
War 1.
Yeah, you can see it. Good. We tried, folks. We tried to get Klingon Academy running in multiplayer, but we couldn't. Maybe you know what? I bet you it's the internet problems we were having.
Oh, it might be.
I bet you. We should try that later.
We connected. We were in the lobby, but when we tried to launch the game,
Yeah.
it choked.
It totally
and,
choked.
And it could also be like some of the bandwidth stuff that I've got set as well. So we might have to both, that's a thing. We might have to set identical bandwidth settings.
What is that? I don't even know what that.
Well, you go in there and you tell it how fast your internet is, right?
Oh.
So I slammed my slider all the way over because, I live in the future. But
I don't think I did
back
that.
then it was
no.
like, are you on a dial-up? You got some DSL. You got
Oh.
whatever. Cable modem's like over in infinity land, right? So if you didn't move that slider, you probably had your network set to like turbo shit. So that's probably why.
Okay.
We'll try it after the show.
You'll try it. Yeah, or maybe tomorrow or something. Depending on how long this goes. I'm actually quite excited about this episode because I love capital ships. I do. I mean, Star Trek is what got me into all this stuff in the first place. So I love the big boys, the big girls, as you say. So
Like big butts? What?
yeah, I like big engines, and I cannot. I like big exhausts, and I cannot lie.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Tailpipes. What?
It's terrible. It's terrible. So this week, to kind of wash out the stink of of Bridge Commander, we're going to talk about other capital ship games and what makes a good capital ship game. How it's different from a fighter game. What are some of the best ones? What are some of the worst ones? What are some of the upcoming ones? So, you might recall last week we played Star Trek Bridge Commander from, what was that, 2002?
Something like that. 2002,
Yeah.
2003.
And it's kind of crap. The bridge stuff is crap. The tactical combat stuff is kind of crap. I mean,
It's
real.
not good.
It's not
It's,
great.
it's almost passable, but not good.
Yeah, it's not. So, thanks to, I can't even say his name. I'm not going to butcher his name, but thanks to a gentleman, thanks to a fan, I'm not even going to try and butcher his name.
It's
Uh,
Molyneux.
Something like,
Molyneux.
it's not. It's got umlauts, and I'm not even kidding.
Oh.
Thanks to an intrepid fan, he has created patches that get Klingon Academy from 14 Degrees East and their play, which came out 2 years before Bridge Commander. Got that to work on modern systems, which is great because over the years I've tried to get Klingon Academy to run like a dozen times. Nothing. Never. Ever since XP, never worked.
Yeah.
But we finally got it running, and holy fuck, what a great game that is.
It is pretty fantastic. I'll give it that.
I
I would say, see, I've been ranting for a long time that I want a space submarine.
Yeah.
I just want to be in the ship. I want to have different crew stations.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go over and work the radar or whatever, and you should be able to like cloak, which is like dive in the submarine, right? And yeah, just that. Well, as we get into playing Klingon Academy, because I haven't touched it in how many years, right? So
Yeah.
since 2000 when it came out.
Yeah.
I played it for a little bit then, I don't know what was going on in my life that I didn't like this game then. I don't know. Maybe it was like I was playing a lot of Free Space too, and Klingon Academy. It was maybe because of all the menu stuff. I was just like, man, I can't really do this because you have to like go through so many menus to get to
Right.
the things. So for whatever reason, I didn't dig it. However, now I'm more mature and jaded and grumpy, and I kind of dig it now, right? So because it is definitely you have the different stations of the ship across numbers 1 through 9, and whenever you hit a number 1 through 9, then it pulls up a menu of
Yeah.
what you can tell the crew member. I really do wish that it was voice acted. That would be so great.
Voice
Um,
activated, you mean?
well, both. But
Well,
I wish that there was some audible response back whenever you tell them to do
there
something.
sometimes is like ship scanned and things like that. So there sometimes is.
Sometimes, but not, you know.
Yeah.
But in Sub Commander, which came out in 2001, they actually did have voice activation. You could say like make turns for 20 knots, and they'd be like 20 knots, aye, sir.
Really?
Absolutely. That game was so way ahead of its time.
I
You
didn't
could
know
completely
that.
talk to the game, like hands off the keyboard, talk the game through playing itself.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know
pretty
that.
good. Um, anyways, if this game had that, perfect.
Well, you can do that with external programs. Like there's one right now that a lot of people are using for Elite called Voice Attack, which apparently is excellent. But back in the day, I had one called Game Commander.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I actually had it set up for all the. If you never played Klingon Academy, it's got a very detailed. They call it the voice order system, I think, or voice order something. It's VOD or VOS, and you can give very detailed controls to each bridge member, and you could actually take over their station too, if you want. So you could tell the helm, set course for this system, warp factor 9, and it's three. It's like 247, and that's what does that, or 249 or whatever, and you have very detailed control over your crew, which is a huge difference from a starfighter game where you just more power to engines and more power to guns. You know, it's so much more detailed. But that's one of the big differences between capital ship games and fighter games is crew management. And while some games have it, like Rules of Engagement has it and stuff like that, Klingon Academy just that's one thing it excels at because of this order system.
Yeah, it's like one of the only games that really does it this deep, if not the only.
I think it might be the only. Honestly, I don't. I can't think of another game that gets that detailed into giving your bridge crew orders like that. I mean,
Yeah,
rules of
there's like
engagement.
games that if you're not in the station kind of goes on autopilot,
Yeah,
like Independence War One,
yeah.
right? But the computer's never quite as good or whatever, right? So in Klingon Academy, do your crew people actually gain experience and get better as the game goes on?
Yeah, oh, I'm not. See, here's the thing. Like, if you look at the debriefing for each mission in Klingon Academy, you will see the crew level, and it starts at green. So I'm guessing it increases as you
Well,
go on.
I would say that that's a definite indicator that they're doing that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it is
Yeah.
very cool.
This makes me want to get out freaking Sub Commander again too, man.
I gotta
Although
find
that
that.
game nasty graphics.
Well,
It runs in like 640 by 480.
it's surprising how good. I mean, with the widescreen thing too, it's surprising how good Klingon Academy looks
Yeah.
right now. It really does. And one thing, guys, if you don't have Klingon Academy and you have any interest in capital ship games, you can dig up a copy for 20, $30. It's seriously worth it because one, it's got a great story. I mean, it takes place a year or two before Star Trek Six, and it's got Christopher Plummer, and it's got David Warner, and Michael Dorn's in there, and Kevin Richardson does some voice acting. You know,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of good voice acting, a lot of good acting, great story, but the tactical, the gameplay is just superb.
And if you should happen to acquire it in digital form from somewhere, it's going to be on 6 CDs, right? So there's 6 CD images. If you
Yeah.
crack those open with, say, 7-zip, you can extract all the files, stick them in a single folder, and then you don't have to swap discs when you're installing.
Oh, really? So
Right.
even if I have the discs, I can do that?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
Just rip all the crap off the discs and jam it in the same folder. It'll keep telling you, there's like 11 files that are redundant. Do you want to overwrite them?
Right.
Just keep overwriting them, and you get to the end. And that's how I did it. Was just I pulled all the files off the discs and then ran it out of a single folder just to see if I could.
Oh,
So
that's good to know.
yeah. In other great victories today, I got MechWarrior Mercs running.
That's awesome.
Fabulous. Yeah,
That's
running
awesome.
like in high res.
You have to send me. You have to tell me how you did that because we gotta. I love that game.
Yeah, well, it's
That's
that whole Mech Tech thing that they have
yeah.
as a download. Although I don't think you can get it directly from them anymore, but it is
Oh.
still archived out there. And
Ah.
and of course it was free, right? So
Yeah.
perhaps I'll check it out because I was actually talking to the guy who's the marketing director for HeavyGear.com today, and he was also like in because MechTech is the people that are developing that, who used to do the MechWarrior expansion stuff. So they have all rights to it. So I'm going to run it by him. Just be like, dude, can I just host the files? I'll just stick them up on MechGameJunkie.com. Just put it there, right, with the instructions for how to get it to run again. But I think that's the deal. I think that's what's going to happen. We're gonna
Oh,
make it happen.
can you do that when you're using Blogger?
Yeah, absolutely. Stick it in your Google Drive. Pow.
Oh,
There you
okay,
go.
okay.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, we're both. I think we're both on kind of a high this week that we got Klingon Academy running because
I am a little.
yeah, I sorry. Well, no, the other day I was like really
What?
tired, and so I was gonna make some videos for the site, but I'm like I'm too tired, so I just played hours of Klingon Academy, just getting used to the controls again and
How
doing
many
a bunch of
missions did you get
scripts.
in?
I'm only 3 in the actual campaign.
Yeah, that first mission, dude. Trope City. So you have to shoot space mines, and and then you're like scanning satellites, which is close to cargo containers.
Yeah.
And wow, they got the tropes out early.
The beautiful thing about Klingon Academy is it actually gives you moral choices in the middle of missions. Like, there's a later mission where you have 2 wingmen, and you come across a civilian passenger liner, and one of your wingmen's like, "Oh, these guys are enemies. We should kill them." And one of your other wingmen's like, "There's no honor in killing these people," and you have to make that choice as to whether you kill them or not.
Oh, but
It's-
it's not like a branching mission system, right? So it's just.
I honestly
Is it
don't
just
know.
triggers later in the mission, perhaps.
I honestly don't know. I always didn't kill him because I just like there's no honor in killing innocent civilians, defenseless people.
Yeah.
But the thing about Klingon Academy and why it's much better than Starfleet Academy. If any of you played Starfleet Academy, I'm really sorry because it's awful. The problem they had with Starfleet Academy is they tried to make a fighter sim with starships. Remember that? Remember how?
there's a thing-
Go ahead.
Let me tell you the significance of that statement that you just made. So, on GameSpot, back in, was it 96 when that game came out?
95, 96, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, I wrote a review on GameSpot in the public reviews thing,
Yeah.
and Steve Bauman wrote to me based on the review that I wrote and was like, "Would you like to write for Computer Games Strategy Plus?"
Nice.
And that is the day I became a game reviewer. Because of that shitty game. But the review that I wrote, it was titled like something like "Capital Ship should like I forget what it was like some kind of like capital ship should like have ballet and not be like break dancing."
Exactly.
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 It was just like don't be fighters. We don't dogfight. This should be like a slow ballet of death.
And that's what they did with Klingon Academy. They slowed things down. I mean, it's still a little dogfighty because you're using your joystick, but it feels a lot more naval. It feels a lot more tactical than Starfleet Academy. Starfleet Academy is just an awful game. It's probably, I think, one of the worst cap ship games ever made.
Well, yeah, in
honestly.
Klingon Academy, all the twitch is gone. Well, there's a little bit, but it's more like you have to think about what the ship's going to do because the ship is going to take a while to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of anticipate where you need to be going and what you're going to shoot at,
Exactly.
and wait for
Time your
everything
shots,
to catch up.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's another thing too is like none of those weapons. I mean, maybe when you get into different ships down the road, but none of the weapons in the at least in the first ship, that bird of prey that they give you,
Yeah.
they don't really fire that fast at
No, they
all.
don't. They
And it
don't.
has a lot to do with your power allocation too.
I
And
know, and
that's
they.
the thing. That's the thing that's huge in cap ship games when they do it right.
Yeah.
Is you have a reactor on the ship, and you just you can't run all the lights in the house at once, right? So you have to choose. What am I going to do? I'm gonna because in a fighter game, it's like, okay, you got this power, and you can throw it to the weapons or the
Right.
shields or the engines.
Right.
Well, in a capital ship, it's like, okay, we can do weapons, we can do shields, we can do engines, we can throw it to damage control.
Yeah.
We can put it into repairs, we can put it into like the sensors.
Exactly.
Where all do you want to put this? Do you want to like overcharge your torpedoes? That's going to take some
Exactly.
extra power,
And
stuff like that.
And in Klingon Academy, you can do all that, which is amazing.
All of it.
You could turn like if you want to tweak your power so there's no power going to sick bay or security, and you put more power to sensors so your photon torpedoes are more accurate because it overcomes ECM. You can do all that.
And I never power sick bay because it encourages my crew to not get shot.
You're Klingons. Why do you even have a sick bay?
Just don't even. Yeah, exactly. It'd just be like a garbage chute
What
straight
do
into
you-
the engines.
Yeah, what are you doing? You don't even need a sick bay. Put another reactor in there, damn it. We need more power for guns and shields.
Exactly. Shoot the corpses out.
Let the dead line the hallways as a reminder to those who think they should fall.
with their purple goopy blood floating.
Oh God!
That was so not good CG.
It was really early. It was not. What was it? 91?
Was it that early?
Yeah.
Oh God, that was early. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. All is forgiven.
Yeah. Exactly. That was really.
Yeah.
I
In fact,
mean,
you got Klingon Academy on the stream right now.
yeah. Yeah, and I love how I'm dealing with a captured Federation base. It's great. So yeah, those are some of the ways that cap ship games are different than fighter games, and that's probably why there aren't anywhere near as many of them as there are fighter games, because it's got to be a more difficult job to put one of these together. It's got to be a much more difficult job because you got to model so much more, and you got to provide more a different type of situational awareness than than if you're in a fighter. And you have different. It's not just shoot the other guy. It's not just get behind him. All the time, because starships have different firing arcs.
Yeah. Oh, that's one other thing in Klingon Academy I haven't quite figured out.
The gunnery
If you
chair.
hit G, yeah, the gunner chair. You hit G, you go into the gunner chair. Can you control the ship while you're in the gunner chair?
Yes,
at all?
yes, you can.
Okay, because
yeah,
I
you
couldn't,
can.
but I was playing with the keyboard, so maybe that's why.
Uh,
get
you,
the joystick
I
and
believe
stuff
you
now.
can, but usually the best thing to do, I have found, if you want to use the gunnery chair, is give your helmsman an order to pursue the target, to pursue your target.
Okay, and then you're using the gunnery chair to actually shoot dudes
Yes.
around you. That's not the primary target.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat concept, right? But
I mean, I've used it a little bit, and it's neat, but I usually stay in the kind of the front mode. But once you get into bigger ships with more firing arcs, I'm sure that'll be more useful. But right now, I'm early in the game where most Klingon ships still have a front-facing, especially the bird of prey. That's all it has, is a front-facing arc. But the AI in this game is also pretty good. It's fairly challenging, though. It is sometimes dumb enough to ram you. It's like, really. But yeah, folks, seriously, if you have any interest in capital ship games, this is really one of the games to get. Unless you could deal with the really old graphics of Rules of Engagement, then that's another game you should look into. Because that game is also amazing. Though the interface is it's kind of wow. It's kind of goddamn. But that's another game that has intricate systems and crew modeling. You know, like you have different systems and different stations and everything. Very Star Trek, Next Generation look to it. So, so that those are some of the best. But let's talk about some of the other best that like one that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. Unfortunately, that was really good with its capital ships. Remember Star Shatter?
Um, yes. Oh yeah, Milo's game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Star Shatter had, I mean, in some ways, the capital ships you flew were kind of larger fighters in some ways, unless you got to something big enough like a carrier. Um, but at the same time, I mean, it's probably one of the only sims I know of that has you going on a career from a fighter to a cap ship commander, from a pilot to a commander.
Yeah. Can you just jump in and be capship commander right
I
away if you want?
don't think so. I think you have to start the campaign. I think you have to start the campaign as a pilot and move through the campaigns and get promoted that way. But I think once you get promoted enough, I think you can unlock. I think you can unlock them so you can jump into the later aspects of the campaign. I think. I'm not 100% because that game is hard and I never got horribly far.
Oh.
Did you play the Star Shatter games? Because
I played like a little bit of the beginnings of it.
yeah,
It was like demo
they were
stuff.
very difficult. They were very difficult. They were very difficult, but very very fun games. Um, but yeah, so that's another good one. And then of course we've talked about the Independence War series. Oh shit. Um, yeah, I forgot a Federation cruiser arrived in the middle of this mission, and I nearly shit my pants because I wasn't ready to handle a Constitution class. But yeah, the Independence War series, the first one more than the second one. You know what I mean? Because the second one was kind of like you're flying a large fighter. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because they automated. They said in the manual, "Oh, things are so automated now. It only takes a pilot." Oh,
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's how big of ships did you get eventually in that game, though?
I
Like, even
don't.
though,
I don't remember. No, you know what? I still haven't gotten past the tug, though. Apparently,
yeah,
you can get
that's
larger
my problem. I
ships.
was stuck in the tug, and
Yeah.
I need to get it out and reinstall it and stuff. But it's like I've rebuilt my machine twice since we played that thing last. But um, it's just I hit a point of impasse in there where it was like the game started crashing on me and stuff, and I
Oh,
was just
really?
like, all right, whatever, time to move on. So yeah, but I need to go back to that because that game is so damn good.
Yeah, I need to
So
too.
so what other stuff do we have here? It's we were talking about Star Shatter. Oh yeah, Nexus, the Jupiter incident.
Yeah,
Another
that
game that I need to play. I've got it. I bought it on GOG. Right?
it's really good, and that's kind of more in the RTS vein.
Sorta, but
But
it gives you a lot of stuff all over the
yeah,
screen
it's
to
it's
control.
it's very detailed game. So I included that because it goes beyond other real time strategy games and what it models in terms of ship control. So I thought that should be included because it's really a good game, and not a lot of people have played that one. Which is a shame because it's very hard. Oh my god, that game is hard. Some of the missions are so puzzly that I wanted to throw my monitor across the room every now and again because some of those missions are just goddamn puzzly. But that game is 8 years old and it's still gorgeous. It is still just a beautifully stunning game. Even 8 years later. Kind of like I War 2. I War 2 is still beautiful, which is
You're still
amazing.
beautiful, Brian.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I try. I need to go to the gym more. I need to work on that. I need to make myself more beautiful. Um,
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
yeah.
However that went. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I think those are probably the best games like Klingon Academy and Rules of Engagement, where if you want to be a captain or a commander, and if you want to control an actual lumbering capital ship, those are probably the best games Klingon Academy, Rules of Engagement, Independence War, and so on that will
You,
give you that feeling.
yeah, you know what else is awesome about Nexus, the Jupiter incident, is it does
Yeah,
have multiplayer.
yeah, it
So
does.
so we need
And
to fire that up and find out if it works. Not
oh
right
yeah,
now,
okay, yeah,
but
no,
you
not
know,
right now. But yeah,
okay,
we should definitely do that.
yeah.
I'd be down. I think Star Shatter has multiplayer too, doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so Star Shatter, it's not in active development, and it was released out there,
Yeah,
right?
the OS, the source code. Sorry, the source code was released a year or two ago, and they have released some stability patches for it.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh,
not.
so
It doesn't
they
have the
have it.
same fervor around
So
it that
they,
like Free Space does.
yeah, they do have it on Hardlight
Yeah,
subscriptions. So is
yeah,
that okay? So that's like there's the full game, and then there's the Star Shatter patched EXE, and then there's a Star Shatter Reborn, which is an effects mod.
yeah,
So that's interesting.
yeah. But that's really it so far. But I mean, that game is pretty intricate because it's one of the few space games that also has a dynamic campaign, kind of in the same vein as Falcon 4.0.
Well, everything about that game was trying to be Falcon in space, which I
Yeah.
loved it for.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Very detailed combat, very detailed ship systems. Even if you're in a fighter, you're still a member of a wing, and you got to fly in formation and stuff like that. But yeah, very difficult game. Very challenging. Even if you're in a bomber, which isn't as crazy as a fighter, it's still challenging. But really worth it. You guys should definitely track it down if you have any interest in and
yeah,
because
it's
it
a definite joystick game.
oh
Must have
god.
joystick.
Oh god, yes. Oh god, yes. I should put that on my series of whether it can be played with a gamepad or not. That's one of my new series. But let's see. I think the worst the capship games you talked about, they're both Star Trek games that I could find. Starfleet Academy, obviously. And do you remember Starship Creator?
I remember it only infamously in that people have said, "Oh God,
Yeah.
Starship Creator."
There
Not
were
not that I ever had it, but
no.
yeah.
There were two of them. I don't even know why. The first one was awful. It was awful. And the second one was even worse. I mean, it gave you
God,
the
you're making me
promise
want
of,
this more and more.
huh?
You're making me want it more and more.
No, no, no. I mean, basically, it gave you the promise of customizing your own, Federation ship or whatever, and then taking that ship and its crew out on missions. And the missions were so. It was like choose your own adventure book shit almost.
Oh God, was it like Yoda desktop stories?
That was
The-
more fun. I had more fun with Yoda and Indiana Jones. Remember, they had a few. They had a couple of them.
Oh
They had
yeah.
Yoda and Indiana Jones desktop stories. I had more fun with that
I wonder how
than.
come they haven't put that out on Steam for $20.
Uh,
Oh
I'm just
shit.
wondering if Disney is like, wow, there's something here. Let's just put everything LucasArts on
Here's the
GOG
thing, though.
eventually,
They could
which
actually
they should.
reboot Yoda stories really easily
Make it like a
with
little
modern
roguelike.
graphics.
Yeah, make it more of a roguelike than it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be like Yoda, Jedi Rogue.
Yeah, why not? Because that aesthetic is in now. That kind of older 16-bit ish aesthetic.
Oh yeah, big time.
I enjoyed Yoda stories though. I played the fuck out of it. I back in the day, much more so than I did fucking Starship Creator.
Oh, it was out on the Game Boy too.
It
Really?
was? What?
Yes.
No.
Somebody said that.
Wow.
Game Boy Color Yoda stories.
No. God, that'd be
Mhm.
like a perfect portable game.
It would
bring-
absolutely.
Bring that to my Vita, Disney. Bring that to my Vita.
I would probably guarantee that I know someone that has the ROM. Someone. Someone that has a full collection of.
Now it's interesting. Some folks might wonder
So-
why I didn't lump the Battle Cruiser series in with the worst. And I don't know. I think they went through enough improvement over their various iterations that they're not the worst anymore. If it had just been the original Battle Cruiser, yeah, absolutely. But they got better as they went on. I mean, they were never amazing. Sorry, Derek. I mean, you made some great games, but they're a little obtuse.
Yeah, I don't know. Wow.
But they
It's
have
like,
they have detailed system modeling and crew management and all kinds of shit. But it was so hard to
yeah,
play. It didn't need to be that hard to play. Oh, is that me?
yeah.
Anyway,
I sent you a little link on the
oh,
Steam.
I can't see that right now.
You could if you clicked it.
No, I can't. If I take this out of full screen, everyone will see my desktop and shit. I only have one
Yeah, and
monitor.
see your porn and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. I only
Yeah.
have one monitor.
Dang
And
it.
I've got the
Okay.
porn paused behind
All
fighting the.
right, because I sent you a link that is actually to the Game Boy Color Yoda Stories Tatooine level.
What?
Yeah,
That is
and I thought
crazy.
maybe you could smack that in the stream, but we don't want people to see that weird porn on your desktop, so it's okay. We'll save it.
Horses, man. I told you about horses.
Oh, God. You're a
Yeah.
brony, space brony.
I really am.
So I got a buddy at
So,
work that is legit. Like he wears My Little Pony shirts to work and stuff. Has some My Little Pony vinyl things on his desk, and
really?
we gave him a little bit of shit about it, but not nearly as much as we should. Yeah,
You know, it's a thing. It's
he
actually
has a pet horse too.
it's a good show. I mean, the woman behind the Powerpuff Girls, which is an
and
awesome
the man
cartoon.
behind Q.
Well, he does a voice on it, sure.
Yeah, he does. That's
Yeah.
the only person that I know that's on there. Well, it's him and Tara Strong.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know Tara Strong. Everyone knows Tara Strong.
I would like to know Tara Strong
That
a lot
would be,
more than I do.
well, that's yeah.
Yeah.
But there are other capship games worth mentioning that aren't great, but um, all those like Star Trek text-based games, like Starfleet and EGA Trek and VGA Trek, those are pretty good.
Yeah. What about God? What was the?
They weren't as detailed
Think
as
of the
like
name of it. It
Klingon
was.
Academy here, but they were pretty detailed. What are you thinking?
I gotta Google it. Star Trek.
There were quite a lot of them. I mean, starting with the
Oh,
1973
Net
game.
Trek. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, no, that was another one. Yeah, there were like I can think of at least a dozen iterations of that game, starting in the with the original like 1972 version.
Yeah.
There was Trek 73, Super Star Trek, EGA Trek, VGA Trek, Net Trek, and just a boatload of others. So that's like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And
So
Starfleet.
Net Trek still kind of in development a little bit.
That's well,
It's still there, right? So
people love that shit.
it's
People,
Net Trek XP 2009 version
I believe
1.
I believe it. Those were
So.
Net Trek was great.
You know what's nice?
For
Net
what
Trek
it did.
back when I played it was nasty graphics, and looking at the stuff here, it's like less nasty.
Wasn't it all ASCII? Pretty much.
No, it wasn't ASCII. It was damn near though.
What
It
am I
was like
thinking of?
monocolored ships, like the
Oh
Klingons were red, the Feds were
yeah.
green. But now they actually put some kind of like next generation looking graphics on it. Like you can tell, oh, that's a Galaxy class, right? So interesting.
Did you ever play the Lightspeed or Hyperspeed games from Microprose?
I've seen the box in the store, but I never bought it.
Those are really great. You controlled this ship that was the size of Manhattan,
Oh wow.
and yeah, it was a huge ship. And when you flew it, it moved like a fucking pig in shit. It was the slowest fucking thing. But you got to also fly fighters out of it, so like you get to fly these fast little things too. But yeah, you actually had control over your engine room and shit. It was for 1990. It was pretty detailed for back in the day. And Hyperspeed, oh god, I always get those confused. I think Lightspeed was the first one, and then Hyperspeed was the sequel that came out like a year later, which is almost pretty much the same game.
Hmm.
But that was a good one. I mean, those are good. They're not as detailed as like the Klingon Academy, for example, but pretty good.
Yeah.
Would you I was confused about the Starfleet Command series. Would you consider those capship games or more
Absolutely.
like okay?
In fact, I was gonna say we don't really have the main genre that capship games show up in, which is RTSs. because RTSs are rife with it. Like Sins of a Solar Empire,
That's
it's
true.
all cap ships all the
That's
time.
true.
And there's some cap ships that are more cap than others, but you know, there's like those giant heroic things, and they got Titans in there
Yeah,
now and
yeah,
stuff. So
exactly.
yeah, and then of course the cap ship game of all time is Eve Online.
Oh God.
I'll mention the evil, but
I guess
you,
that's true.
you can't have evil without Eve. So
Uh,
it's
I
I
guess
don't know,
that's
but
true.
they're changing stuff, right? Because you're supposed to be able to take actual direct control of the ships now.
What?
Yeah, they're gonna allow.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if that's gonna be like WSAD and fly that shit around or what, but they were uh, they were talking about like the fighter game that they were working on when they were showing the Oculus Rift stuff and that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that finally caught on, right? And it was like, oh yeah, we'll let you, control the ship now instead of just various autopilot things. But I was talking to my buddy at work. He does nothing but play Eve Online. And I
Oh,
mean seriously nothing but play Eve Online. I think it's
oh.
his second life, right? Like but
S-
it's
d-
always like, he'll
st-
he'll come in and tell me about like who rated who and where the borders are and like show me maps and stuff, and I kind of live Eve Online vicariously through him.
yeah.
There's actually like a few people, like I work the weekends, right? So I don't see
Yeah.
all the day shift guys through the
Right.
week, but on Mondays we're all there. And I'll go outside and I'm standing, and like somebody will start talking about some video game thing, and then I tune in and it's like, oh yeah, they're talking about Eve, and there'll be like 10 guys standing there talking about like what went down, and it's like it's pretty popular apparently, not with me, but you know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's really an amazing. In some ways, it's an amazing game. Eve Online. It's this
Oh, it
one.
is. I just don't have the patience for
Oh,
that.
I do not either. I don't have the patience or the time. I mean, I don't. I already have a job. That's why I always say I already have a job. I don't need a second one that I pay for, which is what Eve,
Absolutely.
which is what Eve is. I mean, it's what it does is really impressive. I mean, not even Elite Dangerous or Likely Star Citizen will be able to model certain aspects of Eve, like the seamless universe and the complete sandbox that it is, economically, diplomatically, all that stuff. It's really an achievement in a
Yeah,
lot of
but
ways.
really, I don't want it to model all of that. I just want it to be what it is, right? Because Eve has just kind of too much going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a
I
little
mean,
too much. And I want them to avoid all the. Okay, so if you let people get in there and you let them make like guilds, corporations, whatever, like that, right?
yeah,
And then what's going to happen is you're going to have like Goon Fleet show up. If your game's any kind of good, then you're going to get like this giant group of people that come in, and you have to kind of limit the size of that because they have like thousands of players. So if they decide that they're going to come in and completely wreck your shit, they will do it, and nothing's going to stop that. They can kind of end the game for anybody, and I don't know, man. That's an influence that I just would not want to have. Can you imagine, like in Elite, Goonfleet just decides like, oh yeah, well these 10 systems here, yeah, we're just gonna kill everybody that comes in the gate. Yeah,
See,
terrible.
see, that's one thing I love about Elite. I mean, the persistence of your character can be in the solo game, private game, or an open game.
Right, so
So
you can drop offline and do what you want to do without
exactly.
hassle.
So if that happened in the open game, well, fuck you. I'm going to my private game with my friends,
Yeah.
and I think that's brilliant. I think that's
Yep.
I'm. It's 1 week away, by the way, folks. Oh my God, I'm terribly. That's all I'm going to be playing for the next week. Is that?
Yep. So, that reminds me of something
Mm,
because that conversation, I'm gonna go full mech game junkie on you here. So the
mm.
conversation that I had with the heavy gear guy today, he was laying some bombs on me, right? So, heavy gear assault is going to be an MMO of sorts, right? So it's going to have like a Call of Duty kind of um, online play, like arenas and teams and stuff. They're
Mm.
going to not make the mistake that MechWarrior Online made of like, hey, we'll sell you like a $50 mech and that, right? They
Mm.
said there will be DLC stuff, but it's going to be optional. It's not going to be like required to continue playing the game, but it'll be like a booster or something
Yeah.
to like convenience, not so much ability to do something. So but he said there's going to be like an initial buy-in price, and then there, nickel and dime stuff on the side, right? But he
Right.
said that they're actually. Are you familiar with the crafting system that is in like Team Fortress 2, where people make hats and stuff?
I'm aware of that. Yes.
Okay, so he said there's going to be something kind of like that in there, where you get like salvage or something from missions, and
Hmm.
then you can actually build it. But did you played? We talked about Armored Core, right? So where you
Yeah.
do all the customization of the mechs and stuff. He
Yeah.
said it's going to be crazy like that, like maybe
Hmm.
even beyond that.
Well,
And he said there's
Gears.
so much customization that you do that you're going to have to build the parts, right? You're going to have to afford them somehow.
Yeah.
So
I
but he
believe it.
said you can trade parts with other players and stuff like
Well,
that.
with the Heavy Gear role playing game, the amount of that you can customize your mech is just astounding. If you want to, you don't have to go down that rabbit hole if you don't want to. But if you do want to, it is all fucking there for you, and it's really impressive. So I'm kind of glad to hear that. I'm still skeptical about the whole thing, but
One thing that they're doing definitely is
oh,
they're
excuse me.
embracing the esports community. Like it's
Mm.
going to have Twitch streaming right in the game,
Yay.
and you're going to be able to like create a team, and then people on your team can group together and then go find another team to fight. It's not going to
Mm.
make all those mistakes like Mech Warrior's making. They have observed and like learned
So
from
there's not
Piranha
so
Games'
there's not going to
mistake.
be any larger metagame like a war going on or anything. It's more
Uh,
going to be like arena combat.
I kind of asked about that, and I think there's like a hint of a bigger thing going on, but I don't know that it's going to be. I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Mm.
However, um, did you fill out that form that I sent you?
I have not yet.
Slacker. So
I
fill that out and send it to me, and then soon you will be playing it. Oh, think
okay.
about that.
Okay.
So, anyways, that's our Mac news for the evening.
Yeah,
But it
folks.
just it just put me in mind of that though.
Yeah, MechGameJunkie.com has launched. Kinda, sorta. It's in a soft launch right now. We're still playing with it.
It's got a really sexy Warhammer on there that I did.
Yeah, it looks nice. So we're gonna launch that early next year, fully, big time, and it's gonna be awesome. But back to space games. Now,
Yeah,
I definitely want to do a whole show about Klingon Academy, and this show could easily go into the entirety of Klingon Academy.
it almost has.
It kind
So
of has a little bit, but it's just what saddens me about it is that like Bridge Commander has a fuck ton of mods for it, you know, fuck
many
ton of
many
mods.
mods.
I looked for Klingon Academy mods, didn't find jack. The closest thing I found was a mod for Armada 2 called Klingon Academy 2, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This is not Klingon
Yeah.
Academy. This is something different. But
Mm.
it's a shame because I mean, the sad thing was Klingon Academy came out at a bad time. It came out even later than Free Space 2, where people cared even less about space
Yeah.
games. And it was actually I didn't know this. It was delayed a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but it was
What?
delayed.
Why so?
Uh, I don't remember. I was reading the Wikipedia article about it. Hang on, I could probably look it up. But it was delayed a year. It was supposed to come out in '99, and it came out like almost a year later, which is just a shame because it might have gotten more traction had it come out in '99, mayhaps. But I'm not 100% on that. But it's a shame because you can tell a lot of people worked on this game, and a lot of people. Whoa. Oh. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. So let's see. That's my video. The video just showed my desktop, but it wasn't my desktop. Let's see. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Sequel was announced in '97. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Ah, Yeah, they tried to use the original Starfleet Academy code, but it was a fucking mess, and
Oh yes,
it was stuck at one resolution, 640 by 480. Love that. So
nasty.
they only got that fixed right before it shipped in June of 2000.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, they it's just a shame because and it was
Well,
almost
at least.
apparently nearly canceled like the Secret of Vulcan Fury.
Oh damn.
Maybe we
That would
should
have been
get
really actually tragic because we'd have never known what we had.
we should get Thomas back on. See if he knows about see
Yeah.
if he knows about a Klingon Academy here. He can surprise us with he can regale us with tales of interplay and 14 Degrees East. Didn't 14 Degrees East also do the Starfleet Command games, or is that like Quicksilver or something?
Um, it was actually Taldrin that did it, but they
Oh.
did have a 14 degrees east logo on there, and I don't know if it was because the rights passed through them or there was actually part of the team that was. I don't know.
Yeah, I looked. I'm looking at 14 Degrees East on Wikipedia, and it redirected me to Interplay. I'm like, no, not really what I was looking for here, guys. I know what happened to Interplay. They're a mess. Poor Interplay. Oh, but then the upshot is that with this kind of resurgence in space games, there are a decent amount of capship games coming out. We've already talked about a couple on the show. Rogue Galaxy, for example, which
Yep.
isn't super capshippy, but it's more naval and shit than a starfighter game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, it's pirate shippy, right? Because you have
Yeah,
like the whole broadside mechanic going
yeah.
on and stuff.
It's kind of like pirates. It's kind of like
Yeah.
abstracted naval combat. But that's fine because I think it still works because it definitely doesn't feel like a fighter sim. It does not feel like a fighter game at all, which I like. Um, but we also talked about Void Destroyer, in which you can command cap ships, if you recall. Remember that?
Hmm.
You want to hear something funny about that? I was like, oh, there's been a bunch of content and stuff added to this game. I should try and see if I can get past this one mission and do a video of it. Nope, still can't get past the second mission,
Oh wow.
even now. Uh, let's see, Pulsar, Lost Colony. That's the one where you get to run around and you could actually like interact with their stations and
Yeah.
stuff. Remember that one? That one looks
Uh huh.
really cool. I've actually played that one. Flagship. Have you seen Flagship?
Um. No.
Flagship. They just had a Kickstarter. I think they might have canceled it. Um, uh, I'm blanking. But whoops. But it's basically you're on this bridge and you're commanding your troops and your own ship from like an RTS interface,
Hmm.
but you still have a first person interface on your bridge. So it's
Oh.
kind of a mix of the two a little bit.
Hmm.
So that's good. And then what else we got? Fleet, which is more of an RTS, but looks to have pretty detailed cap ship control. And then, did we have these guys in the podcast, or I think I'm trying to get them on? What was it called? Star Heroes and Space Villains? Do you remember that one?
Um. I think that was the name of it. Yeah.
Didn't we have them on the
We
show?
did. We totally did have
Yeah, a
them on.
long time ago.
Yeah, a long way back, and the game was kind of like middling looking because it was they were very heavy in alpha with it, but it was still
Yeah,
quite playable.
yeah, yeah. It kind of felt star shattery in terms of its combat, if
Yeah.
I recall.
So,
So, if you
oh my
like,
god, oh
what,
god. So
what?
somebody made a mod for Distant Worlds
Uh
that
oh.
is the Warhammer 40K Battlefleet Gothic
I'm not surprised.
thing. So, well, I was trying to remember. There were two games when I was at E3 in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
There was Battlefleet Gothic, which was in development for PC, which I don't think happened
I
at
never
all.
I never heard of that one.
I mean, it's like I'm looking at screens from it, right?
Yeah.
That are like interface stuff, but I don't think it ever actually made it. Um, and then there was another one, which was Noble Armada,
I love
with the
no.
Fading Suns.
Oh, I played
Did
the
it?
fuck out of the demo of
Oh, it
that.
did actually come out.
No, they just released a demo that you could
Oh,
play, and it was a very limited demo, but it had such promise because the Fading Suns universe is actually fucking fantastic.
yeah.
I have a bunch of the role playing books, and it's just such a dark yet fun universe to exist in.
It's
And
all about swords and lasers.
swords and lasers and nobles and inquisitors and aliens, and it's just it's got it all. It really does have it all. And and Noble Armada was supposed to be the Starship game that was a follow up to Emperor of the Fading Suns, and it never got finished. And to this day, I'm crushed by that still because I was so excited about that game. You could probably still find the demo somewhere if you look for
I
it.
bet I could.
It's probably out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
they did release a demo. I think shortly after that E3, actually, was when that demo was released.
I'm very surprised that 40K they have not come out with a Battlefleet Gothic game. I mean, they were trying back then.
Well,
Why not now?
explain to
I
me
guess.
what Battlefleet Gothic is.
Okay, it's Warhammer 40,000 combat with starships, but
Oh.
the Space Marine ships look like giant cathedrals, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen
It's
like pictures of them on the boxes. You
Yeah,
know that.
that's pretty much it. And I remember I've never actually seen the board game played, but
Mhm.
there was a Warhammer Fantasy ship game that I can't remember the name of that Scott at the hobby shop had, and we played the hell out of that thing. It was a lot of fun actually,
Hmm.
because it played. You know, you had like broadside counters, right? Which was it was almost like a ruler, right? It was about
Yeah.
like an inch and a half thick, and it had different range bands and colors, right? You'd stick it out the side of the ship, and that's what you could hit and what range and stuff. So it was all about just like maneuvering the ships so that they could actually hit things, and trying to eyeball a shot, and then you'd lay the ruler down and find out if you were right or not, and miss a lot. But it was cool, and it had like a cool damage system for the ship, where you and of course, it's being Warhammer Fantasy. There's like wizards on the ships and stuff too, so
What?
you can do bad things. Yeah, it's like, oh, I throw a fireball at your ship.
It's kind of like Jedi Starfighter in that way.
Yeah, exactly that way. Except
Ah.
they're like big sailing ships, right? But the elves had like super fast little sleek ships, and the Empire had like big fat warships and stuff, and yeah, it was interesting. Orcs had, you know, just orc shit. Yeah, it was, you know, very. If you could imagine like World of Warhammer orcs with boats, right? Like what kind of boats would they
Ah.
make? It would be like big tusks that were lashed
Big,
together, and
big
beer
giant,
barrels.
big giant fists with cannons
Yeah.
coming out the sides.
Well,
That's
there was actually a thing. It was like a giant foot, right? It
a
was like
foot.
it was like Gork's foot or some shit. That was a
What?
template that would, yeah, you could, yeah, crazy orc shit.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh. So I asked some people to try and remember their favorite cap ships, and I got a couple of responses, and they were both the same thing: the mothership from Homeworld, which you never really got to control except for building shit, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm biased and I'm not a big fan of Homeworld.
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry.
by the way, the name of the game was Man of War.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are those naval games where you got to stand on the deck,
No, no,
right?
I mean the Warhammer game. It
Oh,
was miniatures, right? Little miniature boats.
oh no,
It was called Warhammer Man of War.
oh,
And then they had
because
another one that was Dreadfleet.
Dreadfleet. No,
Yeah,
there was a
it's
na-
pirate battles.
There wasn't. There were two naval PC games called Man of War,
Yeah.
And the big deal about them is you could stand on the deck while you're fighting your enemy, but you were alone on the deck because there were no other crew. Even though you heard them, you didn't see them. It was kind of weird, but it was nifty.
That's cool.
But
Hey, you know the elephant in the room that we're not talking about
with
is
Cap,
FTL.
huh?
That's kind of capital ship, right?
You
Because you
know
have
what? I
multiple
guess you
crew.
do have to manage systems and crew,
Yeah.
but they die so fast.
Um,
I,
yeah. Yeah.
and
But the way I found that, somebody
they
has a
die
link
so
here.
horribly.
Somebody has a link here. They made a Battlefleet Gothic mod for FTL.
I forgot about
It's
FTL.
ridiculous.
No, I've blocked out FTL. That's what's going on. I've blocked out FTL.
Too much trauma.
Way too much trauma. But then I don't know. Then you have to include games like Cosmonautica and stuff like that, right? If you want,
Yeah. Well, Cosmonautica. It's not really a capital ship, right? It's a,
uh,
but it's got multiple crew and whatever. But yeah, okay, sure, but no.
see now I think we're stretching it a little.
Yeah.
I think FTL might be the farthest we can go with this particular tangent.
Okay. I'll allow it.
Yeah,
So
I will allow it because it is pretty detailed in that there's lack of oxygen and fire you have to deal with, and so yeah, it's pretty detailed, horribly so.
yeah.
I hate that game.
I wish that there were more games that were like board games, right? For naval combat stuff. Because
Oh yeah.
a lot of these board games, because it's like while we were talking about that, I started like googling for the Dreadfleet stuff and the Battlefleet Gothic and stuff, and that
Yeah.
opened up like a whole rabbit's hole that I've fallen down of miniatures, tabletop, like Starfleet games, like oh god, what is that? I don't even know. Um, yeah, it's like crazy how many really cool looking tabletop games there were for that. The one thing that I really, really, can I say really again,
Sure.
want to play is Strike Vector Tactical
What's that?
as a computer game. It's that one that I showed you. It's the miniatures game that actually tracks like all 6 degrees of freedom on
Oh
the ships.
yeah, that thing looked
Yeah.
crazy as a
Oh,
board
it's
game.
nuts, man. It's borderline unplayable, this board game, right? Because you have to sit for a couple hours and teach yourself how to play the game, and then you can teach somebody else. It's not an easy game to pick up.
Jeez.
You can actually go to their website and download like the basic training scenarios for
Mhm.
free, and you don't need a map or anything to play it. You can measure. So yeah, and his advice is you get some candy kisses and put it on the table, and then you try to fly the ship. And if you can fly the ship and run into the candy kisses, you get to eat it. So you kind of incentivize yourself to
Hmm.
put a carrot on a stick out there, if you will. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many really cool rules that were made for these games, and it's like this shit would really translate pretty well, I think, to a computer sim, right? It's like you could kind of real time it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about RTS games, right? Like Sins of a Solar Empire is like a lot of capital ship stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
then
is
there's like Star Trek Armada, of
yeah,
course.
and
Uh,
Conquest, Frontier Wars,
yeah.
very cap shippy, which is great. Um, let's see. Wasn't there a board game? Starships Unlimited. Did you ever play that one?
Uh-uh.
That's kind of board gamey and 4xy. It's also quite excellent, and I think it's on sale right now at Matrix for like $10. It's
Oh,
excellent.
that's cool. Can you get it on Steam?
No,
Yeah, that's why I don't have it.
it's one of those Matrix. I mean, not. I mean, I'm really glad to see Matrix slowly embracing Steam. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I guess they don't like giving them a 30% revenue share or something, right?
Well,
So,
who would? But at the same time,
yeah.
what I'm hoping is they're selling more in volume to make up for that. That's
I
what
would hope.
That's what I'm
But well,
hoping.
it's like exposure, right? Like
Yeah,
I've said before, there's a limited number of places I want to plug my credit card into the internet.
yeah,
I trust Steam, right? And I trust Amazon. That's
right.
about it. If they would use either one as a payment method, I'd be fine. They'd sell a lot more things to me. But,
Ah,
yep. Because basically, if they've put it on Steam, I've bought it. That's kind of been how it's been. It's been mostly Slytherin stuff. Slytherin seems a lot more open to that than Matrix.
well, they're the same pretty much, aren't they?
Sorta, yeah. I mean,
Kinda.
it's like they're holding hands. They're very close.
Yeah, they're cuddling. They're
Yeah.
spooning. They're spooning. Uh, but like Distant Worlds right now is I think on sale for the first time since it came out right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's 17% off or something, but apparently that's the lowest price it's ever been.
Oh, well, that's a massive discount for a Matrix game.
For Distant Worlds, oh yeah, it's a
Well, yeah,
massive.
and just Matrix in general. Like,
Yeah.
so there was a game, speaking of Steam, that just came on Steam,
Hmm.
and it made me immediately think of you.
Hmm.
It's this thing called Dead Knot. Have you seen it?
I saw on Twitter that the game came out, but I didn't look any deeper than that. I just thought the name was kind of funny.
Okay, what's interesting about this is it looks like Sentinel Worlds 1
What?
because you don't actually see your guys. You see
What?
blips on the radar.
Wait a minute. What? Okay,
Yeah, you
hang on.
totally don't see guys. Like never
Uh,
see your dudes. You see like a map of a ship and there's like colored dots that are your guys. And
what?
you're like ordering them around the ship. It's really a strange looking game, but
That is cray.
it took a bold,
Cray.
weird way, and it's getting like mostly positive reviews.
Really?
Yeah, out of 19, there was like 2 that were negative.
I am looking this up right now on my Steam mobile app because I have one monitor.
There you go. Yeah, it's
So
in the new releases. It just came out.
I will
It,
find
it
it.
looks like almost like Space Hulk played on a radar scope.
What? That sounds
Totally.
amazing. That sounds amazing. Let's see. Dead Knot, it's called? Yeah, I
Yes,
remember that. Let's find it. Um,
it's got character
I
generation like an RPG.
see
It's
it.
got it's pretty weird.
Oh, that's why I remember this. It's the same folks that made Zephaus Diaries. I got a press release about this. Oh god, DOS24680 already owns it. Of course he does. You slick son of a bitch. I love that man. Um, you know who that is, right? That amazing
No, I have
YouTube.
no idea.
Oh, he's a YouTuber. I interviewed him a while back. Probably one of the
Oh,
finest strategy game YouTubers I've ever come across. Does like very detailed shit about Distant Worlds and all kinds of stuff.
oh, very cool.
Yeah, oh, he's great. You should look him up. He is. Oh wow, I'm looking at this and yeah, this might be my jam.
Oh shit! I just
Holy.
bought it. Why did I do that to myself?
I don't know why you did that to yourself.
I don't know. It's your
Well,
fault.
how's it my fault? You told me about it, but then
Blaming
I
you.
had already seen it already. So yeah, because I got a press release about it today. That's why I remember it now. Um, I get so many of those. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah,
Capital ships.
capital ships.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad there are more capital ship games coming out. But I mean, one thing I think a game like Star Trek Online could have excelled at and has completely failed at is like putting you in charge of a capital ship and putting you in this universe where you have Starfleet like missions like go explore here, do this diplomatic thing there, or help this colony here,
Yeah.
and there's none of that. None of that at all. It's all explore this very linear place, do this away mission. It's a shame
Yeah.
because there's so much potential there, and it could have been a great cap ship game, but it's nothing of the sort, and it's just it's just really depressing.
Yeah.
Really, really fucking depressing.
So I don't know. What's
Hmm.
like something else that's happening
Something else
in
that's
the
happening.
cap ships? Yeah. Like
Oh,
we talked about. Let's see, Rogue Galaxy. Did we mention Void Destroyer?
Yeah, we mentioned
Okay.
Void Destroyer. I don't think we. What the hell's the name of that one? The something. Oh my god, my brain. Um, there's
Oh
another
yeah,
one
that one.
coming out. There's another one coming out that I can't remember the name of. It was Kickstarted, and I supported it, and I
Hmm.
can't remember the name of it. The
Oh,
Mandate. The Mandate.
oh yeah, mandate. Right.
Yeah, that
In
one.
fact, I pinged Garrett earlier today on
Oh,
Twitter, or not Twitter, Skype, because I saw he was on. He's always on.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I was just like, hey, we're doing the Cap Ship show, and just to see if he had anything to say or whatever, and I wanted to check in on like where is mandate at, like,
They sent out an update for it like a week or two ago, so
oh yeah,
it's still
do they
moving
have anything
forward.
to actually show yet?
Nah,
Because they were in art asset development when we talked.
it's still mostly concept art from what I recall at this
Mhm.
point.
They need to start snapping them Legos together.
Yeah, like
I want something to play.
I know, and the sad thing is, I would have loved a game like Bridge Commander or something if it gave me more of a dynamic universe to play in. I think that's what a lot of these cap ship games miss. Is that when you're controlling this big battleship, you want more, of you want more dynamic choices. And again, that's where Klingon Academy succeeds so brilliantly because a mission will change in the middle of it, where this guy needs help. Here's a distress call. Go help him, and stuff like that. And here's a convoy I can't take care of. Hey, Strike Force, can you handle these guys? It's much more dynamic. It feels more
Yeah.
alive, you know. And so many. I mean, I kind of get not be having that kind of universe in a fighter game because you're a much tinier cog, So you're
Yeah.
much more focused. You're a much smaller box. This is my one little mission that I have to take care of. That's my one target. Blah blah blah. But with a capital ship, you should have a larger playing field, and that's where I think Independence War 2 and Klingon Academy especially just succeed so brilliantly.
Yeah.
Is because they give you these just canvases to play with, rather than. And I mean, Klingon Academy is kind of linear, but there's also choice in there, and it feels expansive. They do a good job of like masking how linear it is by making it feel like making the missions feel dynamic as they change around you. So even though it is linear, it still feels alive. And that's I think will probably be the mark of an exceptional capship game, is putting you in this vibrant universe where you feel like you're an actual captain.
Mm.
But so many games just don't do that.
So.
It's such a shame.
Yep. So I think I'm capped out.
Yeah, we kind of have exhausted this topic. So, folks, next week is the launch of Elite Dangerous. And we're going to have a launch party where we're going to get people together in
Is
a
this gonna be
group.
like a pajama party?
It's going to be
Like we're up all night.
exactly. We're going to have a little launch
Oh.
party. We're going to try and get players and stuff together on the server and play around, and because there's no grouping yet. So that kind of sucks. They're working on it, but it's not there yet, which is like sad.
So we're all gonna try to meet somewhere.
We're all gonna try and meet somewhere. I'm gonna post about it on the site. I'm gonna try and say, like, guys, we're meeting at Chango Dock, Ibudis. Go. That's where we're gonna meet next week at 7 p.m. Go to Ibudis. And bring your Sidewinder or your Eagle, whatever you have. And maybe we'll go try and find some trouble. I don't know. But that's probably one of the most exciting bits of news this entire year in this particular genre, is that Elite Dangerous is coming out.
That is pretty exciting. I'm
Because
excited.
no one is more surprised than me, because when that Kickstarter first hit, I thought it was just a lame cash grab. They had nothing to show. They didn't even have video. Remember that? They didn't have any video. No
Yeah,
video.
They had nothing.
They had
just like, yeah, we're
nothing.
gonna make this thing.
And
it was like,
it
okay.
came hot on the heels of Star Citizen's Kickstarter. And so, like, really, guys? Really, you're going to try and cash in on this? But no. Things have been reversed now. Because I tried playing the Star Citizen thing the other day. Not that great.
No, still not
No.
there, huh?
I
It's
tried do.
gonna.
I tried doing a race. I tried connecting with people, and it wouldn't work. It was very sad. And the combat still feels very like the combat feels like my fighter is nailed down to the center of a plate. And whenever I turn, someone takes the back of the fighter and goes woo, and it spins around on the plate. You know the spinning plate trick where the
Oh
guy.
God. So you're
You know what I'm
saying
talking
it's like
about?
Wing Commander felt like flying a desk.
Okay, it feels like you're flying a desk that's stuck to a plate that someone is doing the balancing trick on.
Uh huh.
Do you know what I'm talking? Remember, like in the old days in the Gong Show and all that shit, where they'd have the guy with the stick and the plate, and he'd be
Oh
balancing
yeah.
like six.
Totally.
You're on. It feels like you're on that plate in a fighter. Yeah,
Not good.
It doesn't
So
feel.
it's still a circle strafing game.
It feels like that right now, and someone's probably gonna tell me how I didn't use one system or the other to make it feel better and blah blah. But
Doesn't matter.
you know what?
If it-
Whatever. If it doesn't feel that great with a HOTAS or a gamepad, it's not me. Okay, I tried multiple ways to play this game. None of it felt right. Whereas Elite Dangerous, oh god, that thing is sexy smooth. That thing just feels. You know that sound when you dock, that ka-chung.
Yeah.
It's just that's sex right there. That is a ship orgasm right there. Just ka-ching.
It's not how it works in my house, but if that's what works for you, then okay.
Sorry, I got a little graphic there, folks. But seriously, you only have a few. As you listen to this, you only have a few days left to pre-order Elite Dangerous, and if you do pre-order Elite Dangerous, you get an extra ship and a bunch of other goodies. And if you don't pre-order and you just buy after the fact, you just start with the Sidewinder, which isn't a bad ship, but you also get a free Eagle or a Freegle, as they're calling it, if you pre-order. So you folks should pre-order because it really is that astounding. And sure, you're flying just from one box to another, and there really isn't that much interconnectedness between people right now. But that's going to come. This
Yeah.
isn't an MMO. This is Elite in 2014.
I have another question for you, sir.
Sure.
Other games that have come out recently.
Yeah.
So I saw that Space Salvager has finally released.
Yeah, I did a little video of it.
You have it. So what do you think now that it's done? Is it different than it was?
Not
when you played
really.
it?
No, it's different, and you get a choice of different ships to start with.
Uh-huh.
And the combat feels a little better. But I mean, and apparently he's done more since I played it. Like he's apparently.
Yeah. But it's like if I liked it before, I'll like it now.
Oh
If I
yeah,
didn't
oh
like
yeah.
it,
If you liked it
nothing's
before,
really changed.
if you liked it before, you'll like it now. So that just came out recently. That's pretty good. Kinetic Void. I think we talked about this. Just came out of early access.
Yeah, that was not good.
It's not good. And I did a video review of it, and I got the developer kind of tried to blame me for how bad his game is or their game is, because apparently it has a tutorial that's supposed to fire, but it didn't. So when I was playing it, I couldn't figure out how to dock, and I didn't know what missions did, where to get them, what to do with
Yeah.
them. It's a
Have you
mess.
heard back from the Celestial Command guys?
I just got my key maybe an hour ago.
Really?
Yeah, I just got one. So I will be playing with that this week.
Only one, huh? They don't love me.
Do you, okay, here's the thing, Jim. I would include you more in these emails if you actually read your email.
I do.
No,
Hold
you
on, let me
don't.
look at my
No,
email.
you don't. You read your email. I have bugged you many times. Read your email. It's like email. You're like
I have
email.
a spam folder that you go into, I think.
Oh well, that's great.
That might be why.
That might explain some things. But
Explains it all.
yeah, I will definitely include you more in emails. If you read your
Well, a
email.
lot of times I see that stuff, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's for Brian, and I don't like read your stuff.
Well, the thing is, it's our podcast. So,
Okay.
do you want to be? I will include you. We shouldn't
Yes.
be. We shouldn't be talking
Yes,
about
always.
this. on the podcast right
No,
now.
this is developmental. We're doing this in
Okay,
public.
well, good.
We're developing.
We shouldn't do this in public.
Okay.
But no, I will definitely include you now from now on. I will definitely
Okay.
CC you. No problem.
Now I don't feel excluded.
No, I never meant to. It's just
Yes,
I
you did.
didn't. I didn't think you read
You're-
your email. I didn't. You said you didn't read your email. You told
Dude,
me.
email
you don't.
is so 2000 something.
No, it's not,
It's-
dude. It's
It's
still
all
the
about.
best.
It's all
still
about the SMS now.
no. It's still the
Yep,
best way to
text.
get. It's still the best way to get in touch with developers. You don't
Uh,
want to. You don't want to hit people up on Twitter
I know,
and
dude.
shit.
Like the whole PR thing, right?
Yeah.
Which has been very interesting. My book will be out, and please donate to my Patreon. But it's been very interesting because in game development, even to get a hold of the people at the magazines or websites or whatever they call them these days,
Yeah.
it's email, right? And you just hope that you will be seen in the giant pile of email
Hmm.
that they get.
Sure.
You know, and it feels kind of like, yelling into a dark room and hoping that somebody hears you.
Well,
It's tough.
yeah, that is the thing.
It's not like an IM, where you send it and then you see like the person's typing back or whatever.
No.
It's just like, oh, I sent you that, like a week ago. Did you ever get it? Oh yeah, we're real busy. It's the holidays, man.
I get a lot of press releases for Space Game Junkie for games that
Or not.
are
Space.
not in the wheelhouse at all. And so, if I have time, I will usually write back and go, I'm sorry I can't cover this because it's not in our wheelhouse, but good luck. Because, someone took the time to write that. And so you should have the common courtesy to write back and go, thank you for writing me, but I'm not going to cover this. But I appreciate you getting in touch with me. So I understand. It's not an easy gig. I have found when I'm emailing a developer directly, they'll usually get back to me if I'm very specific about I run a space game site, your game is space, here's what we can do for you. Let's talk. And I usually get a response, but I can understand if you're on the opposite side and you're emailing media people, and sometimes they don't have time, sometimes they just don't want to. Sometimes I don't reply to people because I don't have time, but I will if I can. But
Yeah.
I can understand how tough it is. I mean, you're
It's very difficult, and
Yeah.
it's strange and frustrating, right? As press, if you go to the developer, right,
yeah,
then man, they're on it,
yeah,
right? That's great.
yeah,
And which has been my experience. Like any time that I ever go to a developer, it's just like they're ready to jump up and hug you because, oh, thank God somebody's paying attention. And now I understand why, because being on the other side, it's just like, hey guys, game over here, hey,
right,
and it's just, wow, it's tough. So honestly, and the whole reason that I got into this thing is so that I can bring it back home here and kind of explain, because we deal with so many indie devs that I wanted to be able to say, hey, this is, I kind of know where you're at, and this is what worked for me and what didn't, and I can also talk to a lot of other indie devs and be like, hey, we're swimming in the same pond. What the hell are you doing? Who are you talking to? And oh, I saw you got covered here. How did you do that? Right? And they're kind of receptive to talking like that. Honest to God, I think what needs to happen is like an indie game developers union, where all of these people get together and they decide like, okay, Joe put a game on greenlight. Let's all go greenlight it. It'll be like the indie games mafia. Like we just travel in a pack and
well, do
kickstart each other and
do indie gamers have time? Do indie game developers have time
yeah
to do that?
If it was a coordinated effort at all, yes. Yeah, how long does it take to go to Steam and click a damn green light?
I suppose.
And if it's like it's a mutual back scratching thing, right? Like
That's
if
true.
we had, you would have no idea how many indie game developers there are out there. I would say probably 1 in 10 people in the world right now is an indie game developer from looking at my Twitter stream.
There are quite a few of them.
Crazy. Yeah, and a lot of them are quite good, and I mean it's
Yeah.
stuff that's not in our wheelhouse or whatever. But there's one girl, she's making it's like a farming sim. It got greenlit the other day,
Hmm.
but it's like you play as like a little Brussels sprout and run around with an axe, chop
What?
down trees. It's almost like. Did you ever play Animal Crossing?
No, I know of it, but I've never
Okay,
played it.
yeah, it's like Animal Crossing, but you're a Brussels sprout, and you're
What?
like planting seeds and doing whatever. Yeah, and then there's another game that is also a farming game. There's nothing playable for it yet, but it's Stardew Valley that the guy that made Terraria is making, and
Hmm.
but it might not be specifically him, but it's his company. It's in the you know in the website. And if you could imagine Terraria as a farming game, then yeah, it's kind of it's in that weird mix between like Animal Crossing and oh, what the heck was that game? There's a whole series of them on the Nintendo. My wife's got a bunch of them. I can't think of the name of the series, but anyway, it's like one of those kind of things. It's weird. Like there's games out there that are super high quality that are just like not things in our wheelhouse, so we never see them. But now that I've got my Twitter tweaked so that I see everything that says indie dev in it or whatever, it's just crazy. It's like 100 tweets a minute flying up the screen. I can't read it all.
Yeah, I don't see how anyone could. I've been trying to make my Twitter more organized, and it's so fucking difficult.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, yeah, that's where
How
I'm at.
how do you find out what titles have been greenlit?
Um, well, I happened to be watching Twitter whenever this all went down,
Because Steam
and
used to make announcements about when something was like when a
well, they
bunch of.
do still like once a month they'll be like, "Here's 1,000 games we just greenlit," or whatever.
Well, no.
It's a
Here's the thing.
digest
I'm
format.
I'm looking at Steam Greenlight right now, and the last announcement they have about greenlit games is in August. I'm not even kidding.
Really, it's been a while. Well,
But
they were busy with that sale and counting all my money.
well, no. Here's the thing too. I see on Twitter that people say they were greenlit. I'm like, how do you know? I don't. I don't. I'm.
I probably wouldn't even know if my game got greenlit. That's how bad it. Believe me, I
Yeah.
know.
No.
But yeah, it's wow.
Anyway.
Although I have seen in following some of the indie stuff, I have seen some hilariously bad games. Like if I was I could make a career of making fun of people's games. Like really, there's some things out there that's just like wow. But what's weird is like even the worst of that stuff gets a following. They
Oh
get some
yeah.
right. So
Have you ever seen your Kickstarter sucks? It's a Tumblr.
no, but I'm
Oh,
going there right now.
it's great. It's great. They do have games on there sometimes, but it's a lot of just the most random crap, and it's great. It's so
Yeah.
funny because there
I
is
was thinking
some.
about I was thinking about running a Kickstarter, right? Like if I set the bar kind of high, like about 20 million. I wonder if Kickstarter would even do that. Like just let me start a Kickstarter for an absurd amount of money that can't possibly happen just for the media attention. Just to be like this guy started a Kickstarter for like 20 million dollars. What might, what are they doing?
I don't
That's like the
know.
only way I'm going to ever get like on the front page of Polygon or anything. Just be like, I've like my top tier thing will be like we'll send like midget strippers to your house or something. If
What?
you donate to, at the $5,000 tier, we'll ship in space midgets or I don't know. I'm sorry to little people that are out there. I don't mean to make fun of you, but Gidget the midget, she's a real thing,
What?
and I could. You don't know Gidget?
I know the movie with Sally Field that was
No,
eventually
not that
a
Gidget.
TV
Is it Gidget
show.
or Bridget? Now I gotta Google this. I don't want to Google
No,
it because
Gidget
it'll
was a
cause
movie
confusion.
with Sally Field that I believe turned into a TV show eventually. A short, I don't think it was a very long TV show because it's Sally Field and she's probably expensive.
Oh
But
yeah, it's Bridget the midget. Sorry, I'm
yeah,
not clicking on that link.
no,
Google,
don't
Google
don't
search results was enough. The only
don't
reason that I
click on
know
that.
that's legit is because um, one of the adult clubs here in town had
Yeah,
a big marquee on the on the front of the thing, like down at the Foxy Mama, right? It was like Bridget the Midget live, and my wife's like, "What?"
Yeah, what the hell? What the what?
Yeah, we debated stopping, but nah, we had things to do.
I bet. Jeez.
Oh,
So,
good times. All
so
right.
anyway, folks, we should wrap this up. So that was a decent talk on cap ships. Again, folks, please track down a copy of Klingon Academy. It is really an exceptional game. That is, I mean, it's the manual alone, which is this massive spiral bound. I don't even know how many pages is it. It's a lot.
It was
Ow.
large.
It's a large.
I haven't seen mine for
I'm looking at.
years.
Oh, it's
But
288. I'm holding mine in my hand right now. My manual. I'm holding my manual in my hand right now, and you sick fucks. And it's 288 pages. I mean, some of that has notes at the end, but there is a lot of information here. It's not the best manual, but it's really a good read. So if you just pick it up for the manual, but I mean, if you like Star Trek at all, it's good canon stuff, especially if you like Star Trek 6, which is my favorite movie. So maybe that's why I knew, because I like 6 more than 2. I know, I'm weird. But
this
yeah,
is for more than two, actually.
well, yes, but I like the murder mystery aspect of 6, even though 2
Yeah.
had slightly better like naval hornblowery stuff. Anyway, so yeah, folks, next week we are going to be all about Elite Dangerous. Hopefully, it'll work because it's going to be the launch day, and hopefully, it'll.
It better damn work.
Hopefully, the servers won't die, or we're gonna.
get DDoSed on
or-
launch day, or
Yeah, or else we'll have a show just bitching about how Elite Dangerous isn't working all night. But folks, thank you for. We started late tonight because we were both having internet issues, me especially. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night, everyone. Bye bye.